All right, I think this is working. Uh, Let me check on YouTube here, make sure this is actually functioning properly. Yeah, looks like it is. Great. Let me just put the link in the chat here. There we go. All right, comments. Yeah, there we go. Right. I'm just gonna wait a bit longer to give people time to show up if they want to before we start this little uh, tier list thing I made. Yes, it is, Roughhouse. And thank you for showing up. I think you're the first and so far only person here, so welcome. And yes, it is a mirror kit because I basically tried to find all the currently available to buy robot kits that aren't like plastic alloys because I think plastic alloys would take way too long. So I decided just to use full combat ones, which includes the mirror kit. So I'm gonna try and rank these somewhat objectively as best I can, despite the fact I haven't used most of these kits. I'm gonna probably try pulling up uh, like the price points as we go. Those two people now. Great. Hello there. I think it's Techu Robotics. Yeah. If anyone wants to like pop in and help me more directly rank these robots and kits, feel free. Would be nice. I think I put the link in the chat. Can I like pin this? Put user time up in the comment. I think. Yes, Synthwave is on here. You can't really see it, but it's Synthwave is here. It's this one right here, and Outrun is also right here. Uh, Admittedly, I haven't heard of Wave Runner. I didn't know that was one. I might add that to the list. Let me look. Oh, that's the 150. I'm also not including ferry weights, which, yeah, this is a ferry weight, so I'm not going to include it because that would also make the list a bit too large. But yes, I do have Synthwave and Outrun on here, right here and here. I assume you can see that, my mouse moving. If you can't, that's kind of annoying. No, you can't. Well, there's Synthwave and there's Outrun. I'm clicking it, put them all together. I mean, there's a chance I might have missed a kit that is available that is like an ant weight or beta weight. That's a comment that I did miss. So if I did, let me know. I should say this. This was inspired by another stream I saw by a guy named I think like Team Cryptid Robotics, and yeah, I know what to I know he divided like the Viper kit and the Mirror kit into like each of their separate configurations, but I decided to forego that for two reasons. One, because I would have had to add a load of more pictures, and I just was too lazy to do that. And two, because I don't know, I just feel like configurations for a kit should be treated as just like part of the kit, not like a separate robot, if that makes sense. Uh, I guess it's just I like when I'm gonna because like in order to use those configurations you need the actual base robots. So just to make things simpler, at least for me, uh, I'm gonna just try to sort of treat um, like the Viper kit. I'm gonna include like all the configurations as part of the ranking just to make it easier on myself. Because then we'd also be here for a lot longer, and uh, I don't think people want to uh, deal with. Okay, there we go. Pinned. Right. I'm kind of getting sidetracked, as you can tell. Okay, it's 2 o'clock. Uh, oh, someone subscribed. That's epic, I guess. Thank you to Alessandro Ascora. I don't know who this is. Looks like they make stuff. Cool. Right. I guess we'll start the ranking even though there is no one here. I will send out one last little. Man, this sucks. Man, I really thought more people would show up, but alright. So I guess we'll start this little shindig out. So, where to begin? Yeah, alright. I'm thinking we start with the classic kit bot, the one that like everyone I think knows about, and look at the classic Viper kit. Now, what can we what can be said about the Viper kit that hasn't already been said? Um, I think it's a pretty cool little guy that comes with a lot of little weapon configurations and add-ons. If you want to make it have weapons like just the wedge, which is cool. So if you get like a Viper kit, you're buying into a lot of adaptability, I suppose, um, which is cool. It's a very simple design, and it's very, which makes it means that for people who want to get into the sport, it's a great starting jumping off point, which is good. Um, so yeah, that's nice. The instructions, I've built this robot before, so I can say from experience, actually, the instructions are very well put together. And it can build it in like about 10 minutes, get it all fully functional in that amount of time, which is good. Um, that being said, I will say that the Viper kit, for as good as it is as a starting off point, competitiveness wise, um, it's a lot. It admittedly has quite a few drawbacks because it's yeah, yeah, easy to mod, pretty bad out of the box. It's not the most competitive, I will say. Like even with the weapons that you get, they all have some sort of drawback, except for maybe like the lifter, because aside from the fact that the lifter is like all the add-ons, no matter what you get, will have some sort of drawback, but I think is by design with a because if it was like too good, then everyone would use them all the time and everything would get kind of boring. So it kind of has some obvious drawbacks kind of built in to make it less oppressive, which is the points. Um, but like each of the configurations, or sorry, add-ons you can get does have like a pretty big drawback. Like for the horizontal spinner, it's mounted kind of awkwardly and doesn't really get good hits. The vertical spinner has like a questionably designed front fork thing that doesn't really get under people, and the weapon. I mean, I've seen it in competition, and it's okay, but you kind of have to be really good with driving, and also have a really well designed front end axe to get to engage well. The lifter is pretty nice. I remember with back when I first got started with Comet Robotics, I used the Viper kits, and I used a lifter most of the time, and it worked pretty well. But I will say that the lip was a bit small, and also it was very vulnerable to getting just pinged off, which is not good. And I know there's like another add-on. There's like a tail spinner, which I'll admit is actually pretty cool, but I can't say I've ever actually seen that add-on being used in an actual competition, so I can't really speak to it being effective or not. I'd imagine at least it probably works kind of, but I'd imagine it's pretty weak. Yeah, I used I remember when I tried to use the horizontal overcutter, and yeah, it did not really work that well. I think I like it feels like the Viper Kit's supposed to be like an undercutter, when I think it originally was, but then it got like changed for some reason. Yeah, that's pretty big drawback. So overall, I am going to put the classic Viper kit, including all its add-ons, in C tier. And I think that's a good solid place. It's a solid start if you want to get into robotics. I would highly recommend, getting that because it's pretty cheap. According to Palm Beach Bots, the just the base wedge kits. Let me actually check here. Can I edit name? That's not it. Full screen layout. Give me a second. Let me add stage removing. Stop sharing. There we go. Okay, give me a second. I am very new to this entire screen. Yeah, and then oh no, you're seeing millions of me. I was watching a bunch of YouTube videos of a guy racing in a truck. It was pretty cool. Anyway, back to this. So yeah, it's only like $160, which okay. I think that includes all that. I'm trying to figure it out. This is a weird website. I can't tell if this is like just the robot itself or if this includes like add-ons. It's not. Anyway, so I guess yeah, I'm gonna put the Viper kit in C tier because classic robot, great. I think but it's kind of I admit not aged the best, in terms of compared to the robots that are around nowadays because robots have gotten a lot more competitive, at least in like the insect weight classes, especially in Florida. So yeah, put that in C tier. Now, next robot, let's see here. Let's see. How about we go with? I don't know about the any kits, but I'm gonna guess no because I probably couldn't find it on the when I looked up other robots kits. Right. Okay. Let's kind of shake it up. I'm gonna go with the Fred kit because uh the Fred kit is a hub motor horizontal, and I built my own hub motor horizontal spinner, so I should have some experience, or not experience, but some, I don't know, knowledge. Whatever. Let's just do the Fred kits now. Looking at this little guy, this silly little goober right here. We have a fairly well designed little dude. Looks like a TPU body made out of the same. I'm assuming TPU body made out of the same material that I make fluorine out of. In fact, it looks like the exact same color, so I might be able to sue them for infringement. I'm just kidding, of course. Looking at it, I'm tempted to go with like maybe a B tier or something like that. That's what I'm kind of feeling right now because it might be a bit biased, I'll admit, but it feels like it looks pretty destructive. Like the weapon looks pretty beefy. Yeah, I know this is the same guy. Well, I might do all the Etsy ones by this guy now in all one fell swoop because I can. Okay, so this is a classic hub motor horizontal. It's a bit tall for a hub motor for a horizontal spinner, I feel, or maybe that's just the perspective, but it does look a bit tall, which I don't know, maybe that's just a restriction of the hub or something, but I can't. I also can't see the inside, so I can't really judge how good the electronics or spacing or whatever is. Carbon fiber. That's good choice. That's something I haven't done on my weight. $375. Dang. And that's just for the robot itself, not including any of that, which makes sense. Carbon fiber. Yeah, Air 500. Yeah, that's what you want to use. Hmm. I think I might just from looking. I didn't recall. I do recall seeing a video of this thing in action. On I think the guy's. I want to say this person's YouTube channel. I remember seeing like a video, a pretty bad, a funny looking video of the robot just hitting stuff, and it looked pretty destructive, but it also looked really unstable, which is I think what this single review by this one guy says, which is a risk with these types of robots. I'm gonna, based on that video, I think I'm feeling like maybe a B tier, like kind of low B tier. I think I'm feeling like if there's like a tier between B and C, I'd put this robot there. I'm gonna put it in B for now, and as I add more robots, I'll probably kind of shift it off to the right a bit more to as kind of to signify a below B tier robot because it looks pretty good and it's a lot and it has a pretty good price point and it looks fairly well built and well designed. So can't be that bad. All right, let's just kind of knock out the Kyle Coffee robots. Let's go with the mirror kit now because that looks fun. All right. Why didn't load a new tab? You didn't have to load a new tab. You really didn't. Hush. All right. So, the Mira. Modular. What does Mira even mean? Maximum effort robotics analyte, maybe? Oh, Adaptoid. Oh, that's clever. That's cute. I'll give you like a bonus point for the name. Let's look at this little guy. All right. Carbon fiber base. Pretty good little wedge on the base design. Only $150. Yeah, that's not that bad. I'll be honest. That's a pretty good price point. Kind of trying to be like a sort of Viper Kit sort of competitor. And of course, it has little weapons. We have a vertical spinner, a undercutter spinner, forks that probably go on the back. Okay, I'll say this. These weapons look quite a bit more effective than the ones on the Viper kit, which is a good start. No lifter configuration, but that's fine. It's more kinetic energy focused in like a wedge config. I haven't again. I don't think I've actually seen these in action anywhere. I don't actually know if they even sell well, so I don't know how effective they are in actual combat. I mean, maybe I. I might put this in like high B tier because I'm looking at like. I mean, this is pretty good looking. I will say, like, this looks really nice. I'll say that. Like, this looks pretty good. I might put this just purely on looks in like either low A tier or high B tier because that just is a really nice looking robot. I'll be honest, that looks good. It's pretty cheap and it's fairly simple. So four-wheel drive undercutter. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Dang, this actually does have four wheels. That's I did not see that. That's quite impressive. that take away from it a little? I mean, four wheels is nice, but that kind of does leave him open to attack, and you probably could get away with just using two wheels on an undercutter. So that's Viper King look. It kind of does. Not sure Nick would. Will you approve? Not sure. Full drive to full drive undercutter. Okay, I will put. All right, I'm gonna put the. Do I want to put it in 8 here? That's. Ooh. I don't know. Because I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing here. Like, this is really cool looking. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. For now, I'll keep it in A tier, and maybe I'll split them up later into like the horizontal configuration and the wedge configuration because of the wheels. But for now, just to move things along, I'm just going to put it in A tier and move on from this because if I don't do that, we're just going to be here all day, and I want to kind of move on. So, right, let's move on to the next robots on this Etsy thing. Let's go with Synthwave. Right, Synthwave. I have actually fought the Synthwave, well, a Synthwave kit before in the form of, what was its name? Come on, Darren, remember. I fought like back in 2022. It was like, I don't remember. I just remember I fought this robot, or like a version of this robot, a while ago and lost because my robot fell apart against it. But that being said, I think beating this machine up until my robot fell apart. And even then, I wasn't even taking, because I didn't really take that much significant damage. Like, just the screws just fell out, which, aside from that, the robot was basically fine. I just had to put the screws back in, and the robot was A-okay. Anyway, so Synthwave. Yeah, that's $400, which, I mean, I can kind of see why. It is a lot of pretty pricey stuff, but that is a bit high for, especially with not the battery. I guess the battery's only like $10. Yeah, the price is quite high, but I mean, it is a pretty nice looking machine. But then again, it is a kind of basic. Like the belt drive, I think the most impressive part of this robot is the drive system, with like the belts going to the front and the wheels being different sizes. I think that's a pretty impressive part of the robot. But aside from that, I'm not sure if this is worth that much money. And I will also say, having fought one of these robots before, it is pretty easy to get to the size of these things and just kind of snipe the wheels with like a visible horizontal, if you're me. So I know that these aren't like the best. So I think this is actually pretty easy one. I'm just gonna put in like, yeah, I haven't divided into like the pro version or the not pro version because again, they're basically identical except one. Admittedly, the other one does have like forks, which is cool, but the price is over $100, is like $100 more. And aside from like better motors and forks, that feels still like a bit much compared for what you're getting. So I'm gonna put it. I mean, it still is a nice looking robot. I'll give it that. Very cool. So I'll put it in like B tier. Is it above the Fred kit or is it below the Fred kit? I think they're about equal, to be honest. I'm just gonna kind of keep them there. Right. Next, let's get to the big brother, the Outrun kit. That's not what I meant to click, you stupid dingus. There we go. Now, the Outrun kit. I admit I have never actually seen this one fight at all anywhere. I've never actually seen this one being used. I honestly think this is a very new entry on this website. I don't know where I can see when this was added to the like marketplace, but I wish I could because I'd like to see how long this has been being produced. It doesn't say anything really here. Oh, it's long. My goodness. Not your standard. I know. I mean, for only $550 is honestly not too bad for a like vertical for like a kinetic energy robot with like a hub motor, vertical and full wheel drive and forks. I know it's ready to fight. That I'm ignoring that one because if you're, I assume most people who are getting these things would probably have to have some idea of what they're doing, so they would probably get it and build it themselves because I assume they have to have at least enough experience to do that. Or I don't know. I'm, I mean, this looks pretty good. Like, looks pretty competitive. Looks, I mean, driving would probably be a bit annoying because of the gyro, but what isn't? I will say, like the synthwave kit, the wheels are quite exposed. And wait, is that tangent drive? Is that? Yep, it's tangent drive. Wow. Okay. I personally don't really get what the big whoop is about tangent drive. I mean, I guess it is kind of simple, but I prefer the classic. Just shove a wheel on a motor, and all your problems go away. But I don't know. I'm kind of old fashioned. I ooh, what else you make it? You rank this C? I honestly put this in like maybe B tier to be honest, like kind of high B tier because like for this price, and also just it looks pretty good. I mean, yeah, the wheels are pretty exposed, but like aside from that, I can't really see too many obvious like glaring weaknesses aside from the wheels, which kind of makes sense to kind of keep it somewhat balanced because this looks pretty good. And that's a heck, I even think I recognize that hub motor that they use here. Let me check. Repeat tangent, boundless tangent driver. Repeat, yep, Beatoid hub motor. I use that myself in one of my robots, so I know it works really well. So I'm gonna rank it up in above these two because I think it's just a bit better for the price. Like I think it's a B tier to be honest. I think it might be a bit of a hot take, but what I think. Okay, right. Let's see. Okay, we're done with the Etsy ones. I think. Let me check again. Yeah. All right. Let's go with not alloyed because I remember this one's also somewhat old, but not alloyed. Right. Okay. Another disclaimer, I honestly don't think I've ever actually seen this robot fight anywhere. Oh, it does say it's sold out. I didn't actually see that. I think has that changed? Has this been sold out for a while? Because I'm now realizing. Okay, belt. Okay, yeah, these are all sold out. I'm starting to worry. Is this kit no longer being produced? Because if that's the case, I'm going to discount it from the tier list because I'm kind of trying to keep this a list of robots that are still things you can buy. And if you can't actually buy this anymore, that's really bad because yeah, this isn't that good because all of you seem to be saying that they're all sold out. They always very dislike with them, so I think it looked hard to work on. All right, I guess I'll keep it in. I think the chat is like delayed on my end because like a bunch of these messages popped up all of a sudden. I might try pulling this up on my other, whatever. Yeah, I mentioned the wheel thing. Okay, guys, I'll keep this in for now, even though I'm almost 90% sure this is no longer a thing. Right. Looking at this, only 220 bucks for this. That is basic. That is pretty low for something that looks this pretty well made. Like it has, a nice classic belted vertical spinner, 2-wheel drive. Looks like what material is this? Like UHMW? It says doesn't say. Oh, a little motor cover. That's cute. I've never actually. That probably is why. Yeah. Again, I've never actually seen anyone use this kit in any of the competitions I've gone to, so I can't really speak to if this works that well or not. But I mean, it looks pretty good, and the price is pretty low. So I'm just gonna put this in 8 here and just call it a day because I don't really have much else to say. I'm gonna put it like a bit below the mirror kit. Actually, I'll put it there because again, this does look pretty good. Like no glaring obvious faults. It looks pretty strong, nice. The only like slight problem is the fact that this is a wedge nut and there's no obvious fork configuration, so you'd have to make that yourself. But aside from that, this looks pretty good. Yeah, I agree. Love the mirror kit. Right, next one. I'm going to try and knock out some of the more obscure kits because I want to get to some of the more fun ones. So, let's see. This one, I think this is like the Saifu kit. One second. Saifu kit. Oh, wait. Saifu. There we go. Let's hope this pops up. Shut up. I know. Come on, load. Right. I should have probably loaded this up before the stream, but I could this up later. Why is NordVPN? I can close that again. Bruh. This worked. There we go. Right, the Saifu kit, $370. Dang. Okay, it's a classic little hub motor drum spinner. Kind of reminds me of a bunch of robots I see fight at NHRL, which, yeah. I don't think I've ever fought. I never really fought this specific robot. I fought drum spinners, but I've never fought, something like that. I never fought the specific kits. Which is what jet lag is. Okay. Yeah, that's the robot that this reminds me of a bit. Jet lag. I think that's the one. Better than the PBBs and the FingerTech drums. Ooh, you're playing with fire. I haven't gotten to those yet. I mean, yeah, the drum is a bit more. I guess it has a bit more. It looks like it has a bit more mass to it. It does use the classic countersunk screws as teeth, which I guess makes sense. But I kind of do wish that these drums tried to do a bit more with the teeth besides just put screws in, which. I mean, then again, I guess if it works, you if it isn't broken, you don't fix it. So, all right. And I mean, it looks pretty well built, and since it's based on like a beetle weight, that's done really well. I assume it has to translate to this in some form. It does look well made, so I guess I'll put it here below these two because. I mean, but that price is pretty high. And I already kind of put like an ant weight kit in B tier mostly for the price. Do I? I'm gonna rank those as well because those are something you can. There are kits you can buy, so I'm gonna be ranking both of the. All right, I guess I'll stay. I'll just keep it here for now, and maybe I'll change my mind later. Right, next robot. All right, more obscure kits. Let's go with the classic like four of them that are on that like combat robot. Whatever, taser face robot. Let's go with like the classic battle robot kit series because they have like four kind of special version kit robots you can buy combat robots that are kind of based on the FingerTech chassis, sorta, except for this one. All right, they're all basically also priced the same. So we're gonna rank these four next. I want to see the new egg beater for the FingerTech free punch on that PvP hill, I think. I'll check for you in a second. Show comments on stage. Shadow Valley is not available in the 3-plane operating. No, whatever. Right. Anyway, can you actually buy this? I mean, it doesn't say it isn't available, so I kind of have to. Yeah. Yep. Look, it does say you can buy. Okay. Good. I checked. I'm kind of shocked this is still available because I know that this is a pretty old kit. Like all of these collectively. Right. Let's start with, I guess, Taserface because it's the first one. Pro competition upgrade. Not sure what that means. Will guard not include. Okay, they misspelled guard on the promo. That's not a good start. Competition upgrade pro, so it has a wheel guard. That's the upgrade. Oh, jeez. I remember back when I was getting started covering robotics, looking at these things and thinking, wow, these look awesome. Admittedly, not as much now. Okay, this is basically like the vertical spinner, but instead of like the weird clamp drum thing, it's just a disc, and it has forks. That's nice. This like nail acting as like a self-righting mechanism is a choice. Yeah, I gotta be honest. This looks a lot less impressive now that I actually know what I'm doing with combat robotics. And also, $300 for this. Power switch into chassis. Yeah, I appreciate what they're trying to do here. Try and give it. I guess they're trying to like take like the Viper kit and make it better. And admittedly, I think the forks could work, but I think the spinner design is a bit. Maybe I don't know if dated is the word I want to use, but like it's hard to describe, but you can just kind of tell. Especially, I don't think this comes with. I mean, the motors that they use are Silver Sparks, I think, but replacing those would probably be pretty easy. But yeah, probably would go Kaboot flooring kit win. I don't know. I'd have to figure out how to. At first, I have to, in order to make a flooring kit, I have to like price out all the stuff in the robot, figure out a way to manufacture it all, and then actually get interest in people wanting it. Anyway, Taserface. Actually, I have to rank this stupid thing. I don't freaking know. Like, I mean, I guess technically it is. I think it is technically better than the Viper kit in the sense that the weapon is a bit more, I guess, effective because it actually has forks and not like two forks on the side that kind of funnel it into the weapon. But the drawbacks is that I don't imagine this thing is terribly well put together. Especially, and also looks susceptible to getting flipped over and getting stuck in doing the thing, which at least with, a Viper kit, you can, in most scenarios, at least drive upside down and not do the thing. Like, I don't think you can do the thing in a Viper kit. Like, even if you get stuck on your front, you'll probably just wiggle off. But here, you probably get stuck on your front a lot. Eh, I'd have to see this thing in action. Let me, I guess, how many videos are here? Oh, jeez, I don't have the time. D2, this would not beat space junk. And I guess I'm just gonna keep it here for now, but because why is it so? I guess I'll put it in. I guess I'll stick it in D tier because I have to put something in D tier eventually. Right, moving on to the lobotomy kit. This I honestly kind of like. It's basically like a Viper kits, but an actual undercutter instead of the overcutter. So it's kind of better in that regard. It's still a bit expensive, but eh. I mean, yeah, it is a bit outdated with the components, which yeah, actually, yeah, that kind of does explain why you would want to rank Taserface kind of low because it is somewhat outdated. And admittedly, this is also outdated. It uses like this old blade and that motor and that attachment method, which yeah, that might cause the blade to fall off if you get flipped upside down, which is not good. Of course, the motor guard is a competition upgrade, which I am honestly just amazed that these are still available, that you can actually still buy these. That is kind of amazing. Post-COVID, first place, dang. Not sure why it's there, but whatever. Okay, I'm just gonna put this in C tier because like it is, but like I might put it just slightly. Yeah, I'm gonna put it like above the Viper kit by just a little because this is by being an undercutter is a lot more effective than whatever the heck the overcutter Viper kit is trying to do. All right, next one is okay. I'm gonna actually skip over Murder Hornet for a second because that looks a lot more custom than Hellraiser over here. All right, Hellraiser Compass is it's a drum spinner with a admittedly kind of weird looking drum. I don't know if that's plastic or some kind of painted metal, but it uses it's kind of using the Viper Kit chassis as a base like the other two. Drum looks fine, I guess. I don't really know what this is made out of. Titanium feet, aluminum. Yeah, those could be aluminum. Chassis machined out of UHM. Weapon drum made from grade 5 titanium. Why are you saying aluminum? Pick one. Plastic wheel hubs. I assume this is them updating it because I know that the plastic Figuretech wheel hubs came out fairly recently-ish, so that might be why they updated to say plastic, which means I guess this is still getting made. Well, obviously it is, duh. I saw that they have quantity still. Yeah, you raise a good point. That the wheels all the way at the back would really struggle with traction, like a lot, actually. So there's that. That's a big problem. Also, this exposed wire though, you couldn't route that through like the chassis wall here. Can you actually see my mouse, like my mouse pointer? I'm actually asking because if you can't, then that's going to make this kind of difficult. Can you see where my mouse is like right now? Yay! Okay. Yeah, you can see like the wires go up and through the top plate for some reason instead of like a hole being in the chassis that you route the wires through to better protect them. So that's kind of bad, like pretty bad actually. Like, why would you do that? Jeez, there's no reason you can't just put the wires there. And like, I'll admit, the drum looks actually kind of cool. Like, I admit, I kind of vibe with this design. It's like, I kind of like a more, the teeth is kind of like sticking out and kind of being very chunky. It looks just kind of cool to me. I'm not sure why, but like, I might put this in those motors gonna fit your life. Oh yeah, oof. Oh yeah, because like those are going like those two screws have to hold on the side support thing as well. Geez, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, I the lack of traction and admittedly the weapon not having an actual like fork of any kind to like try and deliver the drum under an opponent like into the bottom to like actually deliver an effective hit. I might put this in just D tier because it's that. I'm gonna put it in D tier. I feel actually confident putting it in D tier. Chlorine would dry better. Yes, version 1.0 of chlorine and like to 1.2 would in fact dry better than this robot. You are correct. That being said, chlorine now dries better, like a lot better, because I fixed the weight distribution by making the frame shorter. It's great. Looking forward to kicking some butt at an HRL. Now, last robot on the robot battle robot kits is Murder Hornets. What do you mean competition upgrade? Competition upgrade. It's a box. It is a wedge. It is a box of forks. That is it. Thinner wedgelets, not so the competition upgrade is the wedges are thicker. All right, cool. Does it have like a wedge configuration, or is this it? Like, I mean, I'll give them props. Yeah, I'll give them props here. I like this is a lot more custom than the other robots we've seen. This is a completely custom chassis, and like I like the forky design. That's nice. That little fork of hardened. It's the same as for beginners. Yeah, it's. Okay. All right. I like this design. Okay, I'll be honest. I like that it's a basic fork robot. It's a ram bot designed to control things around. Fair enough. That's good. I do question why it is this expensive. I assume the cost has to come from the fact it has 4-wheel drive, and maybe like the forks are expensive because like the Viper kit, which is just 2 wheels and like chassis and all the electronics make it all work is like $160. Fair enough, but like and so maybe adding more motors would raise the price, obviously. But like I'm trying to. Does it have to be this expensive? I don't know. Does it come with? I also have to ask if it comes with like a wedge for fighting horizontal spinners because a horizontal spinner would like probably pick these forks off, or at the very least bend them, even the pretty thick ones, out of alignment. So it's kind of hard to get under things, which would kind of be annoying to fight against the horizontal if all you had were wedgelets. And also, I should mention that in order to get these thicker wedges, you have to get the competition upgrade, which is $100 extra for just thicker. I spit all over my screen. Thicker forks. So this is what we'd be getting as like the base kit. So only kill a good crowd game. I'll give him credit. This is better. This. I will say that this is probably a good beginner robot because it's just a driving thing, so that's good. So I'll be lenient and I'll put it in B tier, but I'm going to put it in the lowest category of B tier because I do have a lot of. There are a couple of glaring flaws, at least to me. All right. Next robot on the list here. Let's go with the Weta X kit. That's not what I said. Weta XB. There we go. Now this thing. Okay, there's only one preview picture that just shows that, so it's going to be great. Hold on. I remember there was like a. I know there's like a place to get like. I could have sworn it said. I remember finding a place you can just buy the entire robot aside from just the beater bar and chassis. Is this just a chassis? I could have sworn. Hold on. Okay, apparently, I think this is literally just the chassis and the drum. Let's see. Where's the camp? I'm not including the Camp Witch Doctor kits because those are plastic ant weights, and that would make this list far too long. Okay, I'm now kind of slightly hesitant to include this because this is literally just a box, an empty box with what does I don't think it even comes with like any motors. So I might actually not. I guess I'll rank it hypothetically as if it did have all the stuff, but this price is probably not representative of like all the stuff you have to add to this. So, I mean, it's a pretty good looking drone spinner. It's like the Saifu kits, but fatter. Except actually, if that's jet lag, it kind of reminds me of that kit and that robot as well. Nice looking drum. I guess it is. I suppose you could say it's a modernized Fingertech beater. I'm just going to be quick because I kind of messed up the ranking a bit by not doing enough research. I'm just going to stick it in B tier at around there because I don't know, it looks fine, but I can't really again, weapon looks nice. I think B tier is fine. Anyway, moving on from that catastrophe. Let's look at the Peter Bar kit. Because all right. Sold out? I know for a fact this is still a thing you can buy because all the components are available, so I guess it's sold out for now. $460. Jeez. Anyway, right. This thing. The bane of many people's existence, the Peter Bar kit. At least in HRL, from what I can put it for, is S tier. Yeah, you might be right. This might be our first S tier because I haven't fought one, but I know for a fact these things are brutally effective. Yeah, this the price is really good. This is almost just a really good price for this robot, especially for how good it is. Especially if you can even get it for less if you don't include printed parts, which I assume are like the wheel guards and stuff, which is cool. Like big mean vertical spinner. I've fought similar styles of robots. You have to cut drive motors though, no holes. Oh, I did not know that. I wouldn't know because whatever. Okay, I mean that does sound kind of annoying, but I assume the instructions probably tell you how to do that. So anyway, all right, I guess I feel comfortable putting this robot considering how well I've seen it do at competitions. I think I've seen it in person. I can't remember exactly. I'm pretty sure I have because it's pretty ubiquitous. So I'm gonna put this. I feel comfortable for once putting this in S tier. Right. Next, let's do the Black Frost kit. This is admittedly a bit of a weird one. Wait, is this a... Okay, I'll admit this is technically a chassis kit, but it did come with a picture of what the robot would look like completed. So I said I decided to bend the rules a little bit and kind of. I decided to include this one because I already included the. Yeah, it does only really include the chassis. So let me actually check the list again. Do I have any? I'm gonna have the Palm Beach beater. I'm just gonna kind of include this as like the finger baby black frost included. Yeah, sure. I think this whatever. I'm just gonna kind of make this the generic fingertech beater bar kit that pretty much that for a very long time everyone was using. Like in every competition I went to, I would see this kind of robot, and they all looked basically the same. So I'm just gonna pretend they're all this for just to keep things. So we'll make this pretend as a kit because I don't know, man. This whole thing has kind of gone off the rails. Let's include the pipeline punch. I had never heard of that one. You see, I wish. This is why I wish people would come on here because I need to know. I didn't know that was a thing. Like this, I did not know this was a thing. Like, not all parts necessary to complete the kit. Now, whatever. Right, I should get back to this. Yeah, this technically doesn't include all the parts. I mean, this doesn't either, but screw it. I'm just gonna put this in C tier, or maybe B tier, I think, because I mean it's somewhat effective, but it's also a pretty old design, especially with especially with this drum, which is kind of purpose built for this kit or chassis or whatever. So I'm just gonna just call it a day and put it. I'm just gonna put it here. I mean, it's pretty good, but it's also just really kind of obsolete nowadays, which is why most people have moved on from this thing. I think, here B. I think B. I think B tier is fine. You know, it does what it needs to do. It does the job well. It's a pretty decent drum spinner. It is a bit obsolete ish with at least with this drum design because I honestly don't think many people use this type of drum much anymore, or maybe they do, and I'm just haven't been paying attention, which might be the case. Yeah, a little bit. I think this is fine. There. Yeah, it's fine. Right, moving on. Let's keep this train wreck of a stream going on. Let's go to this thing right here. Let me try Phantom. This thing. This bad boy right here. The Phantom horizontal spinner kit. I checked, I think, and this is like the only kit this guy has. Yeah, this is like a pile of electronics, so that doesn't really count. This, is a fully fledged kit. Right. This little guy. I like the look of this guy a lot. I like, this one. No to what? I don't know what I said that caused a no. Anyway, I think it's a cool looking design. It's kind of copying what Fluorine does with the only one sided support rail, which is interesting. I like the nice wheel guard, small. It's nice and compact. The power switch being a literal on-off switch is a tad concerning because most robots use like a screw, which is more standard. I do not like this. Hub motor, which is nice. I think it's okay. I mean, the Switch is a bit problematic. I'll say that. That kind of might dock some points. Wait, all required screws, 300 GST. Why do you not like it, Rough House? I'm curious. Well, I actually want to hear your reasoning because I'm really thinking of putting this like in just B tier, to be honest. Like, the price is pretty good. and it looks reasonably effective. I don't know how well it's done in competition, admittedly, so I can't really judge it on that because I'll admit I haven't really seen much of this robot. But I would like to hear what you have to say, Roughhouse, why you do not think this is worthy of anything higher than a D tier. Man, it's getting windy out there. I'm going to assume you're writing a comment, or it looks like it will get stuck and destroyed. Sign all trees and do some W. Is like the top plate made out of like PLA or something? Or admittedly, I can't really tell what that material is made out of, so it might not be that durable. Which I guess I could say the problem then is if it gets hit, which would be a pretty big problem because that's combat robotics in a nutshell. I get. Yeah. This because I don't think this is like a what's it? Freaking! It's like just like an outrunner motor, isn't it? Is that it? How does this is a spinner motor. I'm guessing this is like a an outrunner based on the nut. So yeah, that would bring it down quite a ways because I've used this exact type of attachment system before and it hasn't gone particularly well for me. Yeah, I remember my weapon would like fly off on big hits, and I remember breaking like 4 motors from that being a problem. Ooh, yeah, that does bring it quite a ways down. Yeah, I think if this thing had like an actual hub motor, I'd rate it a bit higher. I do think it's a bit harsh to put it all the way down in D tier, but at the same time, I guess I can see why you would because you'd have to replace the motor after like every fight, and if you sell a kit with that kind of potential design flaw, yeah, actually, that is bad if you sell a kit with that sort of flaw in it that you might potentially know about. So I'll put it in high D tier, but I can see why. I can kind of see why that might. Yeah, that is not good. Which kind of sucks because this thing. I think like the other part, like the actual chassis, looks freaking amazing. I honestly love this. Love this part of the robot. But so I will at least make it the king of D tier. But I will say, if you're selling a kit with this kind of potential design flaw, that is pretty big. Anyway, what's next? Let's go with Nightwing from Fingertech Robotics. Fingertech. Oh, jeez. I actually have to translate this to American. I was like, wow, that's a lot. Right. A 3-pound undercutter kit. Interesting design. There's only like one photo of it. So I actually. Oh, highlights. Okay. Does require soldering. Yeah, of course it does. Pair of a 3S lipo. I guess 6mm shaft. Ooh. Vicious. 10 inches tip to tip. 700. Let me translate this to USD. Jeez. $550 for a. I mean, I'm looking at this. Drill holes out. Let me look for this quickly. All Rangers see. It says all parts of CNC machine with every pallet hole pre-drilled, no cutting or finishing required. I mean, I guess maybe that means you have to fully draw out the holes, but that doesn't really seem that bad. So, I have to say, this thing looks really cool. Like, I am honestly really impressed. I don't think it's like S tier because I don't know how well it does. And I don't want to get copyright struck. Let me just like click through this. Yeah, classic gyro issues, but that's kind of something all horizontals have to deal with. Just slicing and dicing makes sense. Okay. Restoring events. Restoring robot. Yeah, of course. I kind of like this little guy. I really do. I think the chassis is. Let me take a look here. It's UHMW looks like, which that's a good material to make things out of. Yeah, I think I put this in A tier because I just it's a good. It's relatively affordable. It's not that bad for especially all you get for all the things you get. Of course, the price is right there. Why didn't I just look? I'm very dumb. Yeah, I am going to put this in A tier because I want to put it up here because I think it just looks that dang good. I've never seen one actually compete down here, which kind of sucks because I'd actually kind of like to face the undercutter with chlorine at some point just to have some see what would happen because they're a rare robot to fight against. It probably would bend, but I assume that's kind of something you'd potentially be able to modify or change, like make your own weapons or something. So I'll knock it down a bit. I'll knock it down a bit for the possibility of the weapon bending. That's a pretty good observation. There we go. Yeah, brother, I am running on fumes. Right, let's go with next the Jolt kit. Chaos, there we go. All right, the Jolt kit. I gotta be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this thing. Like, I guess I honestly kind of remember looking at the original version 1.0 and I was like, wow, that looks awesome. I mean, I know this is probably a lot more controllable, but I feel like I don't know, something about this just doesn't really feel good. It might be the really open chassis design, leaving a lot of things just kind of exposed, like more than normal. Um, how much is this thing? Kit. Base kit, I suppose. Complete kit? Does the base kit not come with all the stuff? I'm assuming come with all the structural electronic, but not tools. Sections we plus most of the. Okay, right. So the base kit is the starter thing except like the remote and like the charger. Okay, fair enough. 400 bucks. Yeah, I gotta be honest. I mean, I like the gear-driven weapon. That's at least unique and not something I've seen much of. At least when it comes to spinning weapons, at least when it comes to this type of spinning weapon, like usually gears are used for like overhead spinners or shell spinners or something like that. Well, actually, not even really shell spinners. They use like belts under the shell or whatever. But like a gear-driven weapon for an undercutter is a choice. I don't know, man. I never really. I've seen these kits before, and they never really seem to do that well because like the weapon just doesn't really have much reach, and the wheels are also fairly exposed. And again, it's just like looking at these images, it's just kind of open, like the front, and like this kit is admittedly a bit. How old is this? I know it came onto the scene. I don't know when this. I don't know when this particular version came out, but this is a new too. I think Catastrophe, the one that was one of these. I don't remember which controversial fight Lynx had because Lynx had so many fights. It looks super. Yeah, that's another thing. That's a good point. Like, I imagine this plate at the back comes off to let you get into the guts to fix things, but Yeah, it looks like replacing like a wheel like would be kind of annoying, or a motor especially would also be really annoying because you have to still take off like this to get like the pulley off and then like do all that. Yeah, and I've also really I've seen this thing at competitions and it just never seems to actually do that well. It might have done well back in like when it was like brand new, but I honestly, yeah, I honestly this might be a solid D tier. Like maybe not as bad as that, but does the weapon being that short and kind of difficult to work on, I'm gonna put it just kind of here, in kind of this middling place. Right. Next one, the SSP kit from Just Cuz Robotics, Mr. Cephicus Schaeferus. The self slander porpoise, or whatever it stands for. 450. Pro Brussels edition. $500. Jeez. All right. So what you got here is kind of a classic lifter that I think you can add like a bunch of weapons to. That's a good point. I probably should have been taking ease of working on it into account. I'll probably put that back in when I redo this list. Anyway, right. The SSP. Ha 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 S tier. I mean, it might be actually. Only $450. You get all this. And it also comes with scroll. There we go, scroll. It also comes with like weapon options. Like that's nice. It also even comes with like a spinner option. It's basically kind of like a Viper kit, but for beetle weights, and also admittedly a bit more effective because there's more weight to play with and such. So yeah, it looks like it's fairly easy to work on. Price is really good for like the base kit. I mean the add-ons probably cost a bit extra, but that's fair enough. Uh this looks nice. Looks well put together. Especially the kinetic energy weapons look nice. I know it has like a horizontal configuration that I can't see for some reason. I don't need machine parts. Oop, don't click on that, you silly. Uh, yeah, I actually would feel comfortable putting this in S tier because it is. I haven't fought one of these. I don't want to fight one of these because it looks that good. So I actually feel pretty comfortable putting this in S tier. I'm not sure which of these is better. I'm just going to put him. I'll figure that out later. But for now, I'm just going to put it in S tier. I honestly agree that deserves to be there. Joking. I'm good. Sorry about that. Right. Moving on. What's the next kit I should do? I'm going to go for the Palm Beach Beater to shake it up a bit. Because I can. Right. Chassis and Guts, $270. You get this little guy. I mean, it's your fairly standard two-wheel drive drum spinner, but like the kind of drawback is that this drum design is a bit meh. I don't know, like I don't know, like C tier maybe, like high C tier because I mean, I'll give them like this is pretty good base kits, but like that's not really good ground game. Weapon looks meh. It looks at least fairly easy to do maintenance on. Only like I can't see the top. There we go. Only like 3 screws holding the top on, so repairs are easy. But like, what do you guys think? Low B tier. I was unaware about the weight thing. Does it say how heavy it's supposed? It's like low chassis weight as ordered, 406 grams with 400. Ooh, Yeah, that's kind of a problem if you want to like make modifications, which I'd imagine at some point someone would probably want to do this, and so probably trying to find weight would be a bit difficult. Eh, yeah. I'm actually gonna put this in high C tier because it feels like I guess the Viper Kit equivalent of a drum spinner, if that makes sense. Like it's a fairly generic standard drum spinner that's like it's a good starter if you want to start getting into actually somewhat decent kinetic energy weapons that will actually hit your opponent in a way that isn't terrible like the Viper Kit. But at the same time, it is a little held back by the the weight and the weapon being admittedly not that well designed for hitting things effectively, at least. So I'll put it in like high C tier. Next, all right, next one. Uh, let's go for. Let me check here. So let's go for the scalar kit next. But he's. Oh, this is also a Reaper Robotics. Dang it! I should have done this like when I did the other one. Whatever. Right. This thing. Unlike most of these, I actually do have experience facing this thing, so I can tell you how annoying they are to fight. Actually, I have only fought him like. Actually, no, I fought him like 4 times and I've beat him like 3 times. I've actually beaten quite a few scalers, so they're not too bad. But I will say this: I might put an S tier as well because they are really, really good. It's like even now, with after they've been out for a while, they are still really, really competitive. Like they still managed to do really well for themselves. Price is, very good. Is there any difference between this? No, there's magnesium. Ah, that's for an especially for an energy like a spinner ant weight. That is a really good price. Uh, they're easy. They look fairly easy to work on at least. And like I said, they are very competitive. I mean, I guess maybe working on the belt would be kind of annoying. I can't actually see the insides, but I've having faced quite a few of them and seen them at competitions. They look fairly easy to work on. I don't really see people stressing over them that much. So, um, I will say that the having fought them quite a few times, the way I managed to kind of try and I managed to defeat them is just kind of just outreaching them, which admittedly they have pretty good reach for horizontal, but I just have better reach because I am insane and don't and just have a lot of reach. I will put it I'm just gonna put it in S tier. Like, but I will say I probably put it at the lower end of S tier because it is still really good, but there are some like chinks in that armor of amazingness that do kind of hold it back just a little bit, but it is still really good. And it just again the price is really kind of pushing me here because that is just really good, especially for what you get. I think that's great. Yeah. All right. I'm going to cover these two next. I'm going to cover the Candy Wasp and the D2 kit. First, I'm going to cover the classic D2 combat robotic kit. The granddaddy of them all. I think one of the older ones actually. Can I like click on that? Sold. I know it's sold out. Shush. The classic, the yeah, Madman. I wish you was here. That make this a lot. That make this funny. Probably have some funny comments. You have the classic, the OG combat robot kit that I think this might be one of the oldest at least. I'm not too sure. I don't actually really know, but like I think this is like the oldest kit you still can technically buy. Kinda. I'm not saying kinda. You straight up can actually still buy it. Just without a bunch for some reason. I'm kind of shocked you could still buy it, but yeah, here it is, the D2 kit. Classic, just four wheels and a wedge, or forks. This does come with forks. I know this. Like you have to buy them separately, but yes, this does come with forks, which is great. Um, and do selecting shit. Where do I rank this thing? Because this is technically the first comet robot I ever bought. Well, my dad bought it for me, and then it kind of sat in a garage in like a back room for like 2 years because I couldn't figure out how to actually build the thing because the instructions were really bad, and that's actually probably going to put this thing. That's going to be a pretty big demerit immediately because having actually built this, I can say that the instructions are very, very terrible. Like, once I actually figured out how you're supposed to build this thing, it was actually pretty easy. It's just the instructions do a really, really bad job of telling you where all the wires go because there's not enough pictures. The words don't really make that much sense. It's really confusing. So if you do actually want to build one of these things, I just kind of like recommend looking up a guide online instead of trying to follow the booklet because it's just not worth it. One of these were discontinued recently. I mean, maybe I don't know. So this robot, competitiveness wise, okay. First of all, ease of working on it, I can say it's fairly easy to work on. Replacing motors isn't too hard. Replacing wheels isn't too difficult. So, uh, repairability is pretty good, very good on this machine. Competitiveness is quite different. Um, I think you still can do somewhat well if you're a really, 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 really good driver. You can still do pretty well with a D2 kit, like with the forks or the wedge. That being said, with robots getting a lot either better driven like lifters or whatever, or just getting more destructive with like the spinners, I think it's getting a lot harder for D2 kits to actually do well. Um, So I think when it was first built, I think this thing was kind of known as the bane of everyone else's existence in the beta weights because it was just that good. And over time, it just hasn't really. I mean, it just hasn't really, I guess, evolved, for lack of a better term. It's kind of stayed the same, and I guess in a sense, the fact that it can still occasionally win fights is a testament to how well designed it is. But it is kind of, you can sort of tell that it's, I mean, you can't really tell, but like it is a bit outdated in some regards. I think mostly in the form that in the sense that it still uses brushed motors and like a brushed ESC, and it's like I think it's like billets, which I mean that's pretty cool. Billet side panels of like aluminum, but like if someone were to redesign this today, they'd probably use like a different material for like the box instead of like aluminum. They'd probably use like a plastic or something to, or like maybe like something that isn't aluminum. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I feel as good as this robot is, or well was, it kind of just I feel like it's a kind of a C tier robot, and it's kind of also helped by the fact it is relatively cheap. That being said, I don't think this. Yeah, for some reason, this robot, the kit doesn't actually come with a speed controller, which is kind of strange, but whatever. But like the price is still okay, and for what it is still a decent or what if you can actually figure out how to build the thing. But I will say that you might not want to get this as your first robot until you've maybe built something else first, like a Viper kit or something else here. Anyway, now to the little brother, the Candy Wasp. Now, the Candy Wasp is just a D2 kit, but tiny. In fact, I'm almost certain that is exactly that's just it. It costs the exact same amount of money, which is a bit interesting, I gotta say. It also has a Nova Speed controller, so maybe that's where the price is. How does this How does this cost the same amount? That is actually incredible. And I mean, it is just a D2 kit but smaller. Um, so I might put it a bit higher up on the list because I think it is a little bit easier to win with just like a plain wedge and forks in the ant weights than it is the beetle weights because there's still a lot of energy being delivered by a lot of robots in the ant weights division, but it's less than the beetle weights division still. So I think an ant weight of this, you know, type of weapon, which is just a wedge or forks, which yes, this does come with forks, doesn't show it, but it can come with forks. I think it'd be a little bit easier ish for this, so I might. Yeah, I definitely. I want to fence with the scaler. Mr. Breeze and erratic. I move a hydra modified body weapon plate. I was going to print the belt. Fair enough. Yeah, I feel best putting this in like high C tier because it's pretty good, but at the same time, it does take a lot of skill to use, and that takes practice to use. So you have to be pretty good to win with it a lot. So yeah, I feel best. Yeah, high C tier makes a lot of sense. All right, last one is the Schizo kit, which I think is one of the newer ones. And here it's from Palm Beach Bots. And I think the Schizo kit is basically just like the Viper kit, but better in like every way. Like they made first of all they made the horizontal wood undercutter, which is great. That's good. They fixed the lifter problem by pushing it into the front face of the chassis so it doesn't get ripped off as easily, which is good. And the vertical spinner has a better, I guess, front to allow robots to get underneath the weapon to get underneath robots and hit them up in the air, which is again that's also good. And it's, I mean, okay, it depends on what you get, but like price is a bit much, but it's good. If you don't get battery retrievers, it's pretty good prices, like really good prices. Robots look really well made. I put these in like the ground game is bad. Jeez, I was gonna put this in A tier to be honest, because I've fought a Schizo kit once. I fought like the lifter version, and it was pretty dang durable. Like it held up to the hits like really well, and it held up for like 2 entire minutes of me wailing on him. So I think it's at least durable. And like it's bad, but still bad. Jeez. I mean, if you feel, I might put it in B tier then. If you think it's, I honestly thought it was like A tier to be honest, but I mean, I guess the ground game isn't maybe the best, especially on like the sides, but the fact that it actually has, I think it has better ground game than the Viper kits, um, for the vertical spinner at least, and I think also the lifter because the lifter is also a bit. Is it? I'm trying to remember now when I fought him if how low he was to the ground. I know like this part touched the ground obviously because it's the lifter, but I don't think I've actually seen the. If we're only counting gladiators, then I would rank it higher though. I'm gonna compromise and I'm gonna put the Schizo kit I think in B tier around there. That seems fine. Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. I think that's a good middle of the road type thing. Yeah, I guess yeah, the undercutter getting ejected is a problem. I mean maybe they fixed that issue because it's been a number of years um since I've at least used this particular weapon stack here as for my weapon. So maybe they fixed it. I don't know. I haven't really checked. I haven't really seen many people using this type of weapon anymore. So who knows? Maybe it has been fixed. I wouldn't know. Anyway, okay. This is the tier list. As we've kind of come up with it. Uh, I'm trying to think of anything I want to like change. Hmm. on. Give me a sec. Let me like present my screen a bit better. Share screen. Share screen. There we go. That's better. There we go. That's a bit cleaner. The Forgotten Ones. I mean, like what was the name of that one? The Punchy Kid or whatever. I can't actually remember. PBK, just below the SSP. What was PBK again? Like Palm. I can't remember the actual name. Ah, there we go. Thank you. Save or download. Edit your template. Use the button. Okay. Oop. Yeah, looking at this, it's a vertical spinner with, forks. The fact it only comes with like none of the electronics means trying to figure out the price is a bit difficult. But let me quickly add it to the list because I can. Because I guess screw it. That's the kid. There we go. Tropical. Save. Choose files. I guess there. I've never seen this kit in my life, but apparently did well at NHRL, so that means it probably has to be pretty good. So I'll put it there. S tier, bruh. I mean, it doesn't even come with like $440. Yeah, fine. I'll just put it there. Okay, any other kits? Apparently, I forgot. Necessary. I think I know what the Necessary Evil kit is. I'm not sure how I missed Necessary Evil Robot Kit. Yeah, the problem is the website appears to be down when I go to the site on the Combat Robot Kit fandom, so I can't actually pull it up. I will, however, still put it on the list because I can kind of see it because there is a picture, thankfully. So I'll add it to the list because why not? Basic wedge. I might put it in B tier along with the other like kind of near this guy because this is basically just this. But actually, no, I think it's a bit worse because I remember seeing a picture of this thing up close and it has like gears outside of the like. It has like gears out on the outsides of the wheels connected to a motor, which connects to like more gears. Okay, that photo is kind of terrible. Let me try and find a better one. Hold on a minute. 1 second. Stop sharing. Share screen. Entire screen. There we go. There we go. Okay. Here. You see that? That is a huge problem for me because that is very exposed, and that is the main driving. That is the entire driving mechanism of the wheels. Is this gear right here on these gears here, and those look like they can be hit so easily by anyone with like a kinetic energy weapon. And yes, I know it has the wedge, but like someone's gonna get around your wedge eventually and like hit those wheels. And when that happens, there's a good chance it's gonna knock out a drive side because these are just that exposed. So for that reason, I cannot in good conscience put this thing in S tier. I can't. I mean, maybe it's good. And also it's another thing. I haven't actually seen this thing like fight anywhere. I don't think I've ever actually seen this. So I mean, I'll give them credit. This looks like a pretty well built like wedge, and the forks also look put the same damn thing. Look pretty good, but again, this drive system I just really do not like at all. Like I just do not like this at all. And so I'm gonna put it. I mean, maybe it's cheap and that's fine, but I put the dang Phantom Kit in D tier because of that design flaw with the with potential design flaw with the weapon motor coming apart or shafts snapping. And so with this, I kind of have to apply a very similar logic. I have to be kind of fair. So I'm going to put it in, not like down here. That's very mean, but I'll be lenient. I'll be really lenient and I'll put it in A tier. I'm going to be very lenient and put it in A tier because apparently it's cheap. I mean, okay, sure, it might be durable. I wouldn't know because I've never actually seen it, but I've never actually seen this thing in action. So who knows? Maybe these gears are actually very durable, but that's just, I just feel like that's unnecessary risk. Like, there's a chance that something could get jammed in there, and that's like a potential something getting stuck in there is a potential failure point. And you don't really want that in a combat robot. You want to like kind of get rid of those potential points of failure. All right, maybe it is. I don't know. Okay, anything else? Any other kits? I don't think there's any others. At least, I don't think there's any other kits. At least that are available to buy that are actual kits. And I already bent the rules enough with the Black Frost, so I don't. I really want to do that again. I honestly kind of want to like take this one out because I feel like because it's technically just a chassis. And also the Weta kit, which is also apparently just a chassis, which I feel kind of bad if I didn't realize. I kind of roped the Fingertech beaters into the Black Frost because they use the same weapon and they look practically identical, except it has wheel guards. And I couldn't really find a Fingertech beater kit. Is there like a way to buy this? That's like the weapon assembly. I meant like the actual full on robot, not just the weapon assembly. I just want the entire. Yeah, the thing is here, I guess you can technically get all the stuff for it, but yeah, you get like a bunch, you get like sheets of material instead of like, and you have to cut them out yourself, which is a lot of work. So I can't really honestly rank the Fingertech beater bots because technically it doesn't exist because you have to make the frame rails and stuff yourself. So I'm just gonna pretend this is that, and I put it in beater. I think it's fine. Um. All right. Well, I can't really. I kind of like the tier list as it is, to be honest. I think it's fine enough. I mean, it's probably not perfect. I know for a fact someone else is probably going to make a. I hope someone else makes a video about this or uses this in some way because I think it'd be kind of funny or cool to see what other people think of kits. I'll make sure T5 white. First sections. Yeah, I've not seen that at all. I don't think I have. Oh, you mean the aluminum thing? I recall. I think I remember seeing it like this. Yeah, these look pretty cool. Like I think these look really nice, especially because they're nice. They're like colored. That is cool. I like that. I slightly question why they're made out of aluminum, which isn't really a material you make weapons out of, but sure, I guess. Uh, I mean, they do look cool, and I hope to see these used more. I don't think I've seen any yet. Oh, okay, cool. Hmm. Very good record. All right. Uh okay. Well, I can't really. Why is my caps lock on? I can't really think of anything else to, you know, say about this or do because ranked all the bots. I don't really feel like moving any. They all feel like they're in good enough places. Um, so I might just wrap up the stream here. Well, this place is 450. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, this stream has gone on for long enough, and I honestly am running out of things to say because the entire point was just ranking stuff. So I'm gonna probably head out now. Um, I thank you all for coming, who decided to comment and join in on the fun. I hope you found it at least somewhat enjoyable. If you did, great. Um, and just again, thanks for showing up. Appreciate who those who did, and I will hopefully see y'all soon, either at a competition or at another stream with someone else. We shall see. And anyways, will be a second bot kit ranking live stream. I highly doubt that. I mean, maybe I would badger the other people on the Florida Bots Discord server about that, or ask one of the other people like old Jupiter Robotics and Jonathan, or who else does streams? Actually, pretty much just him. Uh, there's also Junkyard Doll, but they haven't done streams in a while. So I'd ask Jonathan, maybe see if he's interested. I don't know. If there is, I would join in on that to try and help out again because I admittedly had a lot of fun. Anyway, I'll be signing off now. Thanks for coming along on this interesting journey, and I hope all of you have a great day. This is Darren Catalane signing off for now. Thank you, and have a good rest of your day. Jeez.